Imagine this. It's February 8th, 2015. Breaking Bad had its big final episode 2 years ago, and the world was left shocked by the pure genius of Vince Gilligan. The show had won 16 Primetime Emmy Awards, 8 Satellite Awards, 2 Golden Globes, and blah blah blah. You all know the story, one of the greatest shows ever made. But before that amazing ending of Breaking Bad, Vince had announced a spin-off show to this amazing world he had built. This show, of course, being Better Call Saul. With Breaking Bad's success after its big ending, it was safe to say that Vince had built a lot of anticipation for this new spin-off show. The whole world wanted to know what exactly happened to Saul Goodman. So what do you, as Vince Gilligan, or more accurately Thomas Gulabich, choose as the first song to play in the opening scene of this hugely anticipated show about Saul Goodman? You of course choose Address Unknown. Now let me show you exactly why this specific song works so well with the story. But before that, make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. I make videos about bands' histories and soundtracks of movies or TV shows I like. I made 2 videos on The Sopranos, which I'm really proud of, but today I want to talk about the genius soundtrack of Better Call Saul. Enjoy!
Address unknown, not even a trace.
Address Unknown is a song by the Ink Spots that serves a lot of purposes in this particular opening scene. The main one being that Saul, or Gene, is hiding from the DEA, and they have no idea where he has gone. A pretty obvious one. But I think this 50s song, paired with the black and white imagery, gives us a unique way to look into what's going on in Saul's mind. He's not happy with how his life turned out in the end. Years of manipulation tactics and sneaky methods to become rich, and he lost it all because of Walter White. He's become a shell of the man he once was. Hence why Address Unknown is playing. Saul doesn't know where he is himself mentally. He's just sleepwalking through life without feeling anything, reminiscing about his past every day, knowing full well that he'll never get it back. But there's one thing that Saul misses more than his crooked past, more than his days working for the great Heisenberg and making millions of dollars. That thing is Kim Wexler. Kim brings us to the 3rd or 4th, whatever, use for Address Unknown. Okay, from now on I'm gonna call this guy Jimmy because it's confusing, but Jimmy misses Kim. The lyrics of this song go perfectly with what Jimmy is going through, making it the main reason why Thomas Gulabich chose this song. Address unknown, not even a trace of you. Oh, what I'd give to see the face of you. I should have known there'd come a day when you'd be gone. There's even a line that says, from the place of your birth to the end of the earth, I've searched only to find, address unknown. The place of Kim's birth was Nebraska, the same place where Jimmy is hiding right now. Jimmy's looking back at what he had with Kim and he just wishes things had gone differently. He'd do anything to go back and fix their relationship. That's the one thing he would go back and change if he could. This idea of going back in time and fixing everything goes all the way to the final episode of the show, where Jimmy asks both Mike and Walter the same question. What would you do if you had the time machine? Mike answers honestly by saying that he would go back to the first day he took a bribe, while Walter is annoying at first but then starts talking about grey matter. In both instances, Jimmy gives a bullshit answer, talking about a slip and fall or going back in time and investing in Berkshire. He's avoiding the question because where would he even start if he starts talking about regrets? When he's with Walter and Walter says this,
"So you were always like this."
Jimmy realizes that in a way he was always destined to turn out like this. Once again, he has lost his true self, but just this time as Saul and not Gene. Since we're already talking about Kim Wexler, I want to go straight into my favorite song to be used in the show, Something Stupid.
And then I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like I love you.
Tom commissioned the band Lola Marsh to specifically cover this song for the show, and he got nominated for an Emmy because of it. This cover might have of course been because of budget reasons, or Frank Sinatra's label didn't agree to let the show use the original version, but I think the fact that it's a cover kind of makes it more personal to the show. It gives it a more modern vibe that fits Better Call Saul. This isn't just a love song from Frank Sinatra, this is Jimmy and Kim's song. Season 4, Episode 7, Something Stupid, opens up with a montage of Kim and Jimmy while this cover is playing in the background. Despite the song being really romantic, we don't get a romantic montage of the couple. Instead, we see Jimmy and Kim drift apart from each other in the course of 8 months. Kim is obsessed with her work and barely pays attention to the fact that Jimmy has been selling cell phones for the last couple of months and is back to his old ways. Jimmy is of course doing all of this to get a better office for the two of them. Later in the episode, he realizes that no amount of cell phones can achieve what Kim has achieved with her work. During the whole montage, we see a line that divides the couple. At first they're crossing the line here and there and being close to each other, but as the song goes on, we see them literally go in their separate corners, and it reaches the point where Jimmy loses Kim completely. The fact that they drive apart from each other to the point where they lose the relationship they had isn't just a metaphor for this episode, but for the whole show. And the song Something Stupid talks about the whole show as well, with the lyrics saying, "I know I stand in line until you have the time to spend an evening with me," talking about the fact that Kim doesn't have the time, or more accurately the energy, to deal with Jimmy anymore. She can't go on like this unless he decides to change, which he doesn't. She's tired of Jimmy's tricks and constant lies, which is also mentioned in the song by saying, "I can see it in your eyes that you despise the same old lies you heard the night before." Kim knows that they can't keep going on like this because they'll end up hurting more and more people. She's tired of the same old lies she heard the night before. In my opinion, this song also references the final episode of the show, with Jimmy seemingly doing something stupid and admitting to everything he did on court and sending his sentence from 7 years back to 86 years. And he did all of this right in front of Kim's eyes. Of course, Kim wasn't the only reason why he did this. He needed to stop lying to himself more than anyone else. He needed to accept who he really was. But the fact that he did all of this right in front of Kim might be seen as the final way to tell her, "I love you." Talking about love, I have something that I know you guys will definitely love, and that is my Discord server. Okay, I want to make this quick, but you can talk to people there, and there are channels where I'll be discussing future video topics. I even announced this video 2 weeks before it was up. There's also special channels for Patreon members where you get parts of videos leaked before anyone else. Check them both out down below. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Moving on from that love story, I want to talk about another iconic Better Call Saul scene. And of course, I can't talk about music on this show without mentioning the karaoke scene. Season 4, episode 10 of the show starts with a flashback to the night where Jimmy officially became a lawyer. Even when he's talking to Kim before he starts singing, he says that this is his special night and she needs to sing too. Still, he sees Chuck almost leaving the bar and convinces him to stay for 10 more minutes just to see his performance. The song Jimmy chooses is of course The Winner Takes It All. He starts performing the song and he slowly invites Chuck to get onto the stage as well. I think just the way the two of them sing the song says so much about their characters. Jimmy sounds really bad, but he doesn't care because he's having fun and this is his night. He's full of excitement. While Chuck on the other hand is more allergic to fun in a way. He was almost about to leave before Jimmy convinced him not to. And then when he does start singing, he has this perfect voice. Everything he does needs to be professional and perfect, even the way he stands while singing. While Jimmy is the complete opposite by moving around everywhere. Later, Chuck takes over the performances, which some people might see as Chuck thinking he's better than Jimmy and showing him how it's done. It might be down to just excitement. Still, even though this is his big night, Jimmy is just happy to see his big brother having fun for once. After the performance, we see Chuck bringing his drunk brother to bed. Jimmy starts talking about symmetry and how he thinks God gave us 2 eyes, 2 arms, and 2 legs and 2 nipples for a reason. Because it's more beautiful, showing that he sees him and his brother as symmetrical, as equal to each other. Chuck hears this and just dismisses it as just some drunken words, which in a way shows that he never really took Jimmy seriously. Even the lyrics of The Winner Takes It All perfectly go along with their relationship. I don't want to talk about things we've gone through. Though it's hurting me, now it's history. Despite all the disagreements I might have had, Jimmy wants to forget about everything and have a fun night with his brother for once. This scene shows that they do care for each other despite all the things they've gone through. I was in your arms, thinking I belonged there. Talks about Jimmy being metaphorically and literally in Chuck's arms. But I was a fool, playing by the rules. But soon, he realizes that trusting Chuck was a mistake. Chuck never saw him as an equal to himself. He was just dragging him along to get him out of trouble. This causes Jimmy to think that playing by the rules is stupid, because even though he did play by the rules all these years, it got him nowhere. It was time for him to start breaking the rules, and of course, this is where he found success. He became the winner and took everything, while Chuck ended up having a terrible death.
Loses someone dear, the winner takes it all.
I've kind of accidentally realized that season 4 has all the best songs. I never noticed that before making this video. They still didn't get an Emmy for it though. We're back again on season 4, this time with the opening scene of the very first episode of the season. This is another black and white segment with an Ink Spot song playing. By the way, this whole aesthetic with 50s songs playing in the background, Lola did it before them, so not so genius after all. Maybe this video should be titled The OK Soundtrack of Better Call Saul. Jokes aside, the season starts off beautifully, with Gene collapsing at the Cinnabon store. The reason why he collapses is because he's under constant stress that his cover might get blown any day now. We see this stress both in season 3 episode 1, where he tells the shoplifter to get a lawyer, and season 2 episode 1, where he gets stuck throwing out the garbage because he's too scared to alert the police by pulling the exit door. Anyways, episode 1 of season 4 starts with the song We Three by the Ink Spots.
We three, we're all alone.
The song's lyrics say, "We three were all alone, living in a memory, my echo, my shadow, and me." The lyrics go perfectly along with Jimmy's life and everything he went through to reach this point. We three being the 3 identities Jimmy has throughout the show. The echo is Saul, the shadow is Gene, and me is Jimmy. We three were all alone, seems like we're living in a memory. The song talks about how lonely Gene is, and how he's constantly thinking about his past. He's living in a memory by rewatching all the old Better Call Saul ads and thinking about Kim. The song continues by saying, "You know, I've been wondering, what good is the moonlight? The silvery moonlight that shines away, way up above. What good is life to Gene if he's just going through it without any emotions? What's the point of going on when you've lost everything, when you've even lost your true identity? You're just walking through life with no purpose." And then the song says, "Yeah, I walk with my shadow, I talk with my echo, but where's that gal that I love?" Talking of course about Kim and how she made his life fuller. Some people wanted the show to use "I Don't Wanna Set the World on Fire" by the Ink Spots, seeing the way Chuck ended everything in the episode prior, but I think that'll be a little bit too on the nose. Talking about Chuck's death, the last song I want to talk about in this video is actually a Dave Porter original called Walls. I wish I could play this whole song to you guys, but unfortunately I can't due to copyright reasons. Still, the song plays on the last episode of season 3 called Lantern. This music doesn't play when Chuck is setting himself on fire. Instead, it plays when we see Chuck start losing it all by destroying the walls of his house looking for the smallest amount of electricity. This is Chuck at his all-time lowest. He has lost Jimmy and he's become completely paranoid. Despite how much we might hate Chuck, it's sad to see him completely lose his mind because he couldn't bring himself to have a good relationship with his brother. The music starts off slowly, with Chuck flipping some switches or turning on the light on the stove. Then it starts getting more intense when he starts destroying the walls of his own house, searching for whatever his mind thinks he might find. We hear this trumpet that sounds like it's almost tired, it's done with everything. This trumpet in a way shows us that Chuck's end is coming very soon, if you couldn't notice from the fact that he's destroying his own house. The music comes down for a second and then it reaches its ultimate peak when Chuck destroys his electricity meter. The next time we see Chuck, there's no music that plays in the background, showing in a way that his brain has stopped thinking. This is the end for him. And of course, as we all know, he knocks off his lantern and sets fire to his whole house with himself in it. One of the most depressing and eerie episodes of the whole show, with an equally depressing and eerie soundtrack. I hope you guys liked this video. I might make a part 2 if this one does well enough, so let me know in the comments any other songs from the show that got stuck in your head. I know I'm still getting suggestions on the Sopranos video, which is insane. I highly recommend watching these videos if you like this one. Make sure to subscribe and check out the Patreon. I also have a Discord link down below if you want to talk to me there. Goodbye, thank you.